with City of God Church and Champion City Mission and Inside Out. Talking to you again about the homeless situation here in Springfield, Ohio. Many of you may have seen the news story on Channel 22 and 45 or 24/7 Now News. Did a story over the weekend about the winter conditions here and what's being done about the homeless crisis here in Springfield. As many of you know, thanks to the generosity and the help and the donations of so many people that have seen a few of these Facebook videos, really, thanks to so much help from people, Inside Out and City of God Church have been able to team up and open a Champion City Mission, a homeless shelter and warming center for folks in the community, because so many people have been left behind since the local homeless shelters have closed as a result of the COVID crisis. And first, I just want to thank everyone who has contributed in some way. People have donated cots, people have donated pillows and blankets and personal hygiene products and laundry detergents and washers and dryers even. So that we're able to do so much for the dozens of people who have come in out of the cold, who have come to eat, to take the meals. We're serving 3 meals a day now at Inside Out, and most of the meals are actually being cooked by the folks that are being served. So they're actually feeling like they're part of something, and they are part of something. It's more of a community effort here in our community center. So it's just wonderful. I want to thank Allison Walker with 24/7 News, 24/7 Now News for taking the time to report on that. As a result of that story, there have been a number of people who didn't yet know that we were available, who came in. I think the very next day, a gentleman who looks like he's close to my age came in, sat down in the cafeteria with me. We talked for a few minutes. He said he'd been sleeping in the cold and in the snow for the last several days and had nowhere to go and no idea. And who knows what he might have been saved from as a result of that. I do want to make a clarification. I want to clarify a couple of things and maybe complain a little bit here in this video also. I did receive a couple of phone calls from people who were disgruntled and angry about the story. Pastor Carl Ruby, Dr. Ruby, called me from Central Christian Church and was somewhat outraged that there was a section in the story that they played a Facebook video that my wife had done live back in December. And in that video she stated that the city wasn't doing anything to solve this crisis. Now at that time there were we were told 340 or so people who were homeless. Over 150 people were still on the streets at that time. There were no homeless shelters open, and the only solution being offered through the IHN and the city's efforts was to put people in hotel rooms, but there weren't hotel rooms enough available. So so my wife actually went out on the street and to sleep on the street in the cold, in the snow, to experience this for herself and to try to call attention to the issue herself. She put herself at risk. She put aside her personal comfort and safety, and she did that without asking me ahead of time, I might add. I wouldn't have been too crazy about putting her at risk like that. But she did, and she went live and she made some comments that she felt very, very passionately about at the time. Now, I'm sorry if anyone's feathers were ruffled by those comments, but I want to stand beside those comments. I want to be very clear. Those comments were, in my opinion, absolutely true at the time they were made. Nothing was being done beyond what had already been done, which was not enough, and there were upwards of 150 people who were left on the streets at the time. Because of the video that my wife did, that Deborah did, that she had the courage to do, so many people saw that and came forward. So many people outside the circle of influence and power in our city, outside the people who have the money and the power to do something about that, people, ordinary people just like you and me, came forward and they donated blankets and pillows and allowed us to open this Champion City Mission and allowed people to come in. People saw that and they donated cots. Some people donated finances. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, all of the folks who saw that and cared and had compassion and moved outside of your comfort zone. I'm sorry if people's feathers got ruffled by that, but it seems like such a shame to me that so many people in our city who have power and influence are more concerned about whose feathers might get ruffled than whose toes might get frostbitten. It seems like such a shame to me. So I want to go back, so I just want to clarify tonight, for those who were upset or disgruntled or outraged by the suggestion in the news story that the city isn't doing anything to address the homeless crisis, that particular statement was a very, very small clip in a very positive story about some wonderful things that are happening. It was a very, very small statement from the Facebook clip that was originally aired sometime around the 8th or the 10th of December that Deborah had made. And it was definitely accurate reporting because it reflected the history of how we got here and part of Deborah's passion toward this problem. And I want to stand beside her statements, and I want to defend them as being completely accurate at the time. At the time, the city wasn't doing anything to resolve this issue, and in fact, they were hindering those who would. And people who were willing to come forward and do something were being told that they couldn't. They were being told that the congregate shelters had been ordered closed. Other organizations that were considering offering their space or using their space were being told that it was not only unwelcome, but that it was unlawful. And that wasn't true. And we found out that it wasn't true. I found out that not only did the local health department not order the local health or the local homeless shelter to close, but they actually asked them to remain open. They actually said that there was no reason they had to close. Those things weren't reported, but it's true. And so we began trying to communicate this to, I was involved in another Zoom conversation, a Zoom meeting on December the 16th, and I want to show you a clip from that so that you'll know what I'm talking about, because in that call, I made it very clear that Inside Out is ready, willing, and able to help with this problem, if not resolve the problem. And not only that, but we're going to do something by ourselves if no one joins with us. So there was no question that we have the space and the capacity available, and we're going to do something. And we were told there were 30 leaders in that call. No one rushed in to say, gosh, let's do it, because we were immediately told by the city official, Shannon Meadows, that congregate shelters have been ordered closed. And I challenged that statement in the video. I've challenged it again and again and demanded that someone present an order. And she doubled down on her assertion, saying again, making the statement again, congregate shelters are ordered closed. To this day, no one has provided even one copy of any rule, order, or even a suggestion from a government official with power that homeless shelters should close anywhere in the state. It's just not true. So please take a look at this video. I know it's been a little long, but you might find it educational. We've also made available in the Creative Ideas session, we presented a proposal to actually house some of the people. We have space to do a temporary shelter that, there's another 160 people still on the street. We could, if we work together, we could house all of those people really in a COVID-safe manner. The CDC and Department of Housing and Urban Development have both put out guidelines on how to operate shelters that are safe. We've got the space here to do it. We've got a 60,000 square foot building, and the wing where our daycare used to be located is actually vacant right now. The space is available. There's fire suppression. There's plenty of ingress and egress to do something that could be safe. It's located close to the kitchen and cafeteria.
Where is Inside Out?
Inside Out is on the corner of Wittenberg and Pleasant in the old Kiefer School building.
Okay, got it.
So, and we also have the Path Integrated Healthcare has offices located on our premises now, and they're in a position to be able to provide mental health services at no cost to us. They have other sources a lot of these folks would qualify for, but at no cost to us or this group. They have the ability to provide services. They're experts in trauma-informed care. And they have psychiatrists and psychologists, and would be in a position if we did something here to establish a service plan or a case plan for every person that came in. I don't know, is Amanda, are you on the line here with us?
Yes, I am.
Maybe you could mention a little bit about some of the PATH services that are available.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can treat and diagnose any kind of mental health disorder, whether it's, ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all the way up through psychosis. And with that treatment, they would be able to have weekly therapists. We have licensed therapists and psychologists on staff who do our therapy. We also offer case management, so we can help with, if they need food, helping with housing or getting on assistance, clothing, any kind of resources they need, community-based. Our case managers do that. We have nursing services to, make sure that the well-being of each individual is taken care of. They're healthy, they're safe, all of those things. And then we also have psychiatrists and nurse practitioners who provide medication management for us, so they can prescribe for any of those mental health disorders that these people might be suffering from.
And I want to make one more plug for this shelter. One of the reasons that I keep we're so pressed on doing something to shelter other than the hotels is, and I don't mean to be argumentative or the naysayer or the negative guy, because so many people are working so hard, and having these hotels is definitely better. These hotel rooms available is so much better than people sleeping on the street. But we at Inside Out come into direct contact with a lot of these kids, and I think sometimes the people putting this thing together have the kind of envision it as being like us taking our kids on vacation and staying in a hotel, and it's a really good experience. But the experience that we see a lot of these kids having is, and not just one or two, but a lot of these kids, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are being left in these hotels by parents that have life-controlling issues. We see kids that are preteen kids, 10, 11, 12, and early teenagers that are being left for days at a time while their parents go out and party and go on drug binges. I overhear kids having conversations that go like, hey, we're having a party this week. My mom got me a hotel room. Mom's nowhere in sight, but the kids are having teenage parties where sometimes younger kids are being introduced to sex and drugs. And I know of one 12-year-old boy that spent the night in the hallway at the Red Roof Inn a couple of weeks ago because his parent was out of town. He doesn't know where and couldn't get in the room. So I just think that the motel room idea is a great idea, but it certainly shouldn't be our first idea. It should be kind of a thing of last resort, because nobody's got, at a shelter, there's supervision. You can't go leave your kids at a homeless shelter while you go party. A lot of these moms, frankly, can find other places to stay if they don't have to drag their kids around, and this is a wonderful enabling thing. And I know that there are some that aren't like that, but there's so many that are. So that's one of the reasons why we're so compelled to do something. And Inside Out, unless it sounded like last week there was another facility that was going to be brought online. Now it's not. Unless something else like that is brought online, we're going to do something, even if we have to do it alone. But anybody volunteering, we're very, very, very stretched on our people. But we've got a big facility and it's empty, and I can't really see myself trying to explain to God how I could leave that center empty and all the food in the freezer while there's still people on the street, or while kids are being left in these circumstances. So we're going to do something unless somebody else comes up with a better idea for sheltering other than the hotels. So anybody that can help with that, we appreciate it.
Hey, William, if I could jump in real quick, I'm so sorry, but we definitely need to make sure that everybody understands there is definitely a difference between the private market, individuals doing something, and that which is available with public funds. And everybody has their opinions as to what's good and what's not good. I will tell you, nationwide, it is a model before COVID, and it is definitely the model now that congregate sheltering is not the best way to move forward to end homelessness. Congregate sheltering creates barriers when it comes to upholding human dignity and moving people through the pathways to permanent housing. And particularly during COVID, congregate sheltering is currently ordered closed. So definitely individuals can move forward and attempt various things. And I know Bill and I and some others are going to have some additional conversation with other homeless shelter and homeless service providers through the state. But I do need to let you guys know that currently, as the bureaucracy, federal, state, local, and professionals who do homeless service providing nationwide, hotels are the preferred path to permanent housing in service and case management with shelter providers. So that's just very important as we move forward. Anything that will have any type of government participation financially will need to meet the appropriate models.
Yeah. Hey, Shannon, if I could just interject a thought, and I get that I get that different people have different ideas on what's best and what's appropriate, but you keep suggesting that the congregate shelters are outlawed or forbidden, and unless somebody can show me a rule, that's just not the case. They are open in Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lorain. Springfield is the only one that I'm aware of that has actually closed, and the CDC has specifically asked shelters not to close in their guidelines, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development has issued guidelines on how to run COVID-safe shelters. So I'm a little confused when I keep hearing that they've been closed by order of the health
the largest group, and not to go down a path that's going to take up more time than people are able to give. Congregate shelters are ordered to close.
Also, as far as the assertion or the statement that congregate shelters rob people of human dignity or present barriers, please take a moment to listen to this testimony from my friend Shannon.
Hello, my name is Shannon White. Just want to give you some insight on the Dream Center, what brought me out to the Dream Center. The biggest reason why is just life controlling issues. Where I actually came to LA, I lived on Skid Row for roughly about a year or so, but I started volunteering at the Dream Center, from going in and out, eventually living there, becoming staff, and really learning the tools and what it means to minister, but not just minister, but what it means to invest in the community. One of the biggest things that the Dream Center played a huge role in my life is when I got full custody of my son, where they had a family floor, which my son and I lived there, and they kind of taught me just how to be a dad again. It wasn't really that I didn't have life skills or knew how to do anything, more than just not knowing how to be a father, when to say no, when to discipline. All that kind of stuff was very new to me, and I learned a lot of it at the Dream Center. Not only that, just my work ethic, a lot of things where it's selfless. And that's what I can think of. When I was on the family floor, I lived there completely free. Food, clothes, anything that I needed was completely free. And so not only did I get a lot of skills, but everything was paid for, including my room and board. Along with being staff out there, I learned a lot of things about the ministry, a lot of things about the heart of God, a lot of things about what are needs versus wants, things that somebody really needs versus something that somebody really wants. To have the heart of God is to fill needs, not necessarily wants all the time. And I know that the community, especially in Springfield, and I know it was needed here in LA, is some kind of a community center, some kind of place that families can go to receive the care, the medical provision that they might need. And I'm sure that Inside Out is an amazing place. As I worked there, and I loved working there, especially with the kids lived out there, and I know what it's like. It's not a bad place, and the people aren't bad. They just need somebody to be there to just love them. It all takes time, and change doesn't happen overnight. But I do know that 10 years later, after being at the Dream Center, I am where I'm at today, living in California. I have my own place. My son's still living with me. He's about to graduate, all because of a community place called the Dream Center that was there. Just one of the many tools that are in the communities out there that people need. People are in desperate need of this for shelter, but not just that, for food, for skills, so they can move on in life. So These kind of facilities are amazing, and I am a product of one of them 100%.
Okay, well, thanks for listening, folks. I know we've gone a little long tonight. To all of you who are watching, have contributed and helped in some way, I want to thank you. Thank you so much. People have contributed financially. People have come down and volunteered their time. We've got several people that have, several people have volunteered or working third shift, staying there all night to oversee this center. Other people are coming in the day. Thank you so much for those of you. People have brought in everything from television sets for our day room to clothes and boots and hats and gloves and pillows and blankets, and just so many things have been contributed that are helping in this cause. We are so far from having done this on our own. So I want to thank you. And those of you who are upset or disgruntled or angry, none of the people who came in out of the cold and slept in our center were outraged. None of the people who have eaten the hot meals that we've been able to serve, none of them were upset over the things that we said. So let me try to end on a positive note. Thank you so much. Thank you for having enough interest to listen this far. Look, if you want to help, we can certainly use the help. There are a number of ways. People ask me, how can I get involved? We've got a website, and we've got a forum on there that you can list your contact information, help.iouth.org. You can list your contact information there. We'll get a hold of you, and let us know in what way, whether you're volunteering time or resources. If you want to contribute funds, the easiest way to probably do that would be on our Facebook page. There's a donate button there. There's links to both of them there at the top of the screen. The web address, and feel free to stop by. Also, if you are concerned about the resources that are being spent locally to put people in motels and hotels, and that maybe that's not the best solution, that maybe kids are being put there without supervision and millions of dollars are being misallocated in ways that are not effective, let your government officials know that, on not only the local level, but the state and federal level. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the help and the volunteers. Please feel free to send us a message, send me a private inbox message, or make a comment on this post. Thank you. God bless you.